नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। उमाज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपथकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवारि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृद्यन्तस्तो भद्राणि विदुनुति सुहृत्सताम्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भागवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Naranarayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma supersoul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. So today we continue the chapter 26, 3:26:33 text. Oh. अर्थाश्रयत्वं शब्दस्य द्रष्टुर्लिङ्गत्वमेव च तन्मात्रात्वं च नाभसो लक्षणं कवयो विदु। अर्थाश्रयत्वं, that which conveys the meaning of an object. Shabdasya, of sound. Drashtu, of the speaker. Lingatvam, that which indicates the presence. Eva, also. Cha, and. Tanmatratvam, the subtle element. Cha, and. Nabasha, of ether. Lakshanam, definition. Kavaya, learned persons. Viduhu, no. Translation. Persons who are learned and who have true knowledge define sound as that which conveys the idea of an object, indicates the presence of a speaker screen from or view and constitutes the subtle form of ether. Okay, we have to read again. Let's see the previous verse. When egoism in ignorance is agitated by the sex energy of the Supreme Person of Godhead, the subtle element sound is manifested. And from sound comes the ethereal sky and the sense of hearing. Persons who are learned and who have true knowledge define sound as that which conveys the idea of an object, indicates the presence of a speaker screened from our view, and constitutes the subtle form of ether. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It is very clear herein that as soon as we speak of hearing, there must be a speaker. Without a speaker, there is no question of hearing. Therefore, the Vedic knowledge, which is known as Shruti, or that which is received by hearing, is also called Apaurusha. Apaurusha means not spoken by any person materially created. It is stated in the beginning of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Tene Brahma Hrida. The sound of Brahman, or Veda, was first impregnated in the heart of Brahma, the original learned man, Adi Kavaye. How did he become learned? Whenever there is learning, there must be a speaker and the process of hearing. But Brahma was the first created being. Who spoke to him? Since no one was there, who was the spiritual master to give knowledge? He was the only living creature, therefore the Vedic knowledge was imparted within his heart by the Supreme Person of Godhead, who is seated within everyone as Paramatma. Vedic knowledge is understood by the spoken to be spoken by the Supreme Lord, and therefore it is free from the defects of material understanding. Material understanding is defective. If we hear something from a conditioned soul, it is full of defects. All material and mundane information is tainted by illusion, error, cheating, and imperfection of the senses. Illusion, error, cheating, and imperfection of the senses. So these are, in short, illusion, error, making mistakes, cheating, imperfect senses, illusion, mistake, error, cheating, imperfect senses. Because Vedic knowledge was imparted by the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to material creation, it is perfect. If we receive that Vedic knowledge from Brahma in disciplic succession, then we receive perfect knowledge. Every word we hear has a meaning behind it. As soon as we hear the word water, there is substance water behind the word. Similarly, as soon as we hear the word God, there is a meaning to it. If we receive that meaning and explanation of God from God Himself, then it's perfect. But if we speculate about the meaning of God, it is imperfect. Bhagavad Gita, which is the science of God, is spoken by the person of Godhead Himself. This is perfect knowledge. Mental speculators or so-called philosophers who are researching what is actually God will never understand the nature of God. The science of God has to be understood in disciplic succession from Brahma, who was first instructed about knowledge of God by God Himself. We can understand the knowledge of God by hearing Bhagavad Gita from a person authorized in the disciplic succession. When we speak of seeing, there must be form. By our sense perception, the beginning experience is the sky. Sky is the beginning of form, and from the sky, other forms emanate. The objects of knowledge and sense perception begin, therefore, from the sky. Hmm. Oh, this is why something sky is God, because it's the beginning of form. Text number 34. Bhutanam chitradhatritvam bahirantaram eva cha pranendriyatmadishnatvam na baso vritti lakshanam. Bhutanam, of all living entities. Chitradhatritvam, the accommodation of room. Bahir, external, antram, internal, eva, also, cha and prana, of the vital air, indriya, the senses, atma, and the mind, dishyatvam, being the field of activities, nabashaha, of the ethereal element, vritti, activities, lakshanam, characteristics. Translation: the activities and characteristics of the ethereal element can be served as accommodation for the room for the external and internal existences of all living entities, namely the field of activities of the vital air, the senses, and the mind. The activities and characteristics of the ethereal element can be observed as accommodation. Is this like play? Accommodation. Yeah, of course. Accommodation for the room for the external and internal existences of all living entities, namely the field of activities of the vital air, the senses, and the mind. Purport. The mind, the senses, and the vital force or living entity have forms, although they are not visible to the naked eye. Form rests in subtle existence in the sky, and internally it is perceived as the veins within the body and the circulation of the vital air. Externally, there are invisible forms of the sense objects. The production of the invisible sense objects is the external activity of the ethereal element, and the circulation of vital air and blood is its internal activity. Form rests in the subtle existence in the sky, and internally it is perceived as the veins within the body and the circulation of the vital air. Externally, there are invisible forms of sense objects. The production of the invisible sense objects is the external activity of the ethereal element, and the circulation of vital air and blood is its internal activity. Really interesting. That subtle form exists in the ether. That subtle forms exist in the ether has been proven by modern science by transmission of television, by which forms of photographs of one place are transmitted to another place by the action of the ethereal element. So television is given as proof of subtle things. Yeah, that is very nicely explained here. This verse is the potential basis of great scientific research work, for it explains how subtle forms are generated from the ethereal elements. What their characteristics and actions are, and how the tangible elements, namely air, fire, water, and earth, are manifested from the subtle form. Mental activities or physiological actions of thinking, feeling, and willing are also activities of the platform of ethereal existence. The statement in Bhagavad Gita that the mental situation at the time of death is the basis of the next birth is also corroborated in this verse. Mental existence transforms into tangible form as soon as there is an opportunity due to contamination or development of the gross form of the gross elements from subtle form. This is really technical purport. The statement in Bhagavad Gita that the mental situation at the time of death is the basis of the next birth is also corroborated in this verse. Mental existence transforms into tangible form as soon as there is an opportunity due to contamination or development of the gross elements from the subtle form. Yeah, this was clear. So television was in this purport. Text number 35. Nabashah shabda tanmatrad kalagatya vikurvata sparsho bhavattato vayustvak sparshasya sangraha. Nabasha from ether, shabda tanmatrad from which evolves from the subtle element sound. Kalagatya under the impulse of time. Vikurvata undergoing transformation. Sparsha the subtle element touch. Abhavat evolved. Tata tense. Vayu air. Tvak the sense of touch. Sparshasya of touch. Cha and Sangraha perception. Translation. From ethereal existence which evolves from sound, and the next transformation takes place under the impulse of time, and thus the subtle element touch and thence the air and sense of touch become prominent. Purport. In the course of time, when the subtle forms are transformed into gross forms, they become the objects of touch. The objects of touch and the tactile sense also develop after this evolution in time. Sound is the first sense object to exhibit material existence, and from the perception of sound, touch perception evolves, and from touch perception, the perception of sight. That is the way of the gradual evolution of our perceptive objects. So first there is sound, then there is touch. Okay, Haribol, who wants to read the next one?
Hare Krishna Prabhu's Dandat Pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada. I can
Hare
continue.
Krishna Diraj Prabhu Tanar Pram Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Sure. I hope there is not much noise. Is there any noise from my
No,
side?
Prabhu.
Okay. Text 36. मृदुत्वं कठिनत्वं च शैत्यम् उष्णत्वमेव च एतत् स्पर्शस्य स्पर्शत्वं तन्मात्रत्वं नभस्वतः. Synonyms: mridutvam softness, kathinatvam hardness, cha and shaitam cold, ushnatvam heat, eva also, cha and etat this, sparshasya of the subtle element touch, sparshatvam the distinguishing attributes, tanmatratvam the subtle form, navaswata of air. Translation: softness and hardness and cold and heat are the distinguishing attributes of touch, which are characterized as the subtle form of air. Purport: tangibility is the proof of form. In actuality, objects are perceived in two different ways. They are either soft or hard, cold or hot, etc. This tangible action of the tactile sense is the result of evolution of air, which is produced from the sky. Text 37. चालनं व्यूहनं प्राप्तिर नेत्रत्वं शब्दयो सर्वेन्द्रियाणाम् आत्मत्वं वायो कर्माभिलक्षणम्. Synonyms: chalanam, moving; vyuhanam, mixing; prapti, allowing approach; netratvam, carrying; dravya shabdayo, particles of substances and sound; sarva indriyanam, of all the senses; atmatvam, providing for the proper functioning; vayu, of air; karma, by action; abhilakshanam, the distinct characteristics. Translation: the action of the air is exhibited in movements, mixing, allowing approach to the objects of sound and other sense perceptions, and providing for the proper functioning of all other senses. Purport: we can perceive the action of the air when the branches of a tree move or when dry leaves on the ground collect together. Similarly, it is only by the action of the air that a body moves. And when the air circulation is impeded, many diseases result. Yeah, actually, in this Ayurveda, there is this three doshas actually: Kapha, Vata, Pitta. Indians, they may know that. And this air, it is a symptom of a Vata dosha. So actually, I have that Vata dosha. Every individual, like every human being, is categorized into three types: Kapha, Vata, and Pitta. So if the air, like if air element is predominant in someone, then it is called as a Pitta. What is Vata dosha? And fire element, it is for a Pitta dosha. And sky element is for a Kapha. So it is like that. So if anything is imbalanced, then all kind of diseases the human beings they get. So
Yes, Prabhu. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is mention that this imbalance of air in the stomach is cause of there was like 80 or something different mental diseases. It was, I remember this. I was trying to search for it. Maybe I will find it.
yeah. Yeah. Paralysis, nervous breakdowns, madness, and many other diseases are actually due to an insufficient circulation of air. In the Ayurvedic system, these diseases are treated on the basis of air circulation. If from the beginning one takes care of the process of air circulation, such diseases cannot take place. From the Ayurveda as well as from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it is clear that so many activities are going on internally and externally because of air alone. And so, and as soon as there is some deficiency in the air circulation, these activities cannot take place. Here it is clearly stated, Netratvam Dravya Shabdayo. Our sense of proprietorship over action is also due to the activity of the air. If the air circulation is stifled, we cannot approach a place after hearing. If someone calls us, we hear the sound because of the air circulation, and we approach that sound or the place from which the sound comes. It is clearly said in this verse that these are all movements of the air. The ability to detect orders is also due to the actions of the air. Is there not like kirtan sound coming from my side background? Lot of loud kirtan
No
is going
problem.
on. No. Oh, okay.
No problem.
Noise cancellation is very good, I think.
Yes, Prabhu. No kirtan for us, Prabhu.
Oh,
I'm not hearing it.
not hearing. Maybe I can go close.
Oh, Hari Bol. Yes, Prabhu. Now we are hearing normal.
Yeah. So
Yes, it's really loud.
very good. Yeah. Now is it gone?
Yes, Prabhu. Now it's gone.
Yeah. So I will continue. Text 38. वायुश्च स्पर्श तन्मात्रा रूपम दैवे प्रीतादभूत समुहितम ततस्तेजस चक्षुरूपोपलम्भनम. Synonyms: Vayu from air, cha and sparsha tanmatrat, which evolves from the subtle element touch. Rupam form, daiva iritat, according to destiny. Abhut evolved, samuthitam arose tatha, from that. Teja fire, chakshu sense of sight, rupa color and form, upalambhanam perceiving. Translation: due to interactions of the air and the sensation of touch, one receives different forms according to predestiny. By evolution of such forms, there is fire, and the eyes sees different forms in color. Purport: due to predestiny, the touch sensation, the interactions of air, and the situation of the mind, which is produced of the ethereal element, one receives a body according to his previous activities. Needless to say, a living entity transmigrates from one form to another. His form changes according to predestiny and by the arrangement of a superior authority which controls the interaction of air and the mental situation. Superior authority. Form is the combination of different types of sense perception. Predestined activities are the plans of the mental situation and the interaction of air. So both factors are there, predestiny and arrangement of superior authority. So our karma, they can be called as predestiny, and superior authorities, Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
So two things are there by which we change the body. But Krishna says, Antakale cha mameva smarana muktava kalevaram. If at the end of life we think of Krishna, then we go back to Godhead Krishna. Sami Prabhu left. Some issue from his side. He will join back. Reboot.
I ran out of battery.
Yeah. I'll continue. Text. Now the any issue is there from your side, Sami Prabhu? Internet issue or everything is good?
Yes, Prabhu is good now.
Okay. Text 39. द्रव्याकृतित्वं गुणता व्यक्ति संस्थात्वमेव च तेजस्त्वं तेजस साध्वी रूपमात्रस्य वृत्तय. Synonyms: dravya of an object, akrititvam dimensions, gunata quality, vyakti samsthatvam individuality, eva also, cha and tejastvam effulgence, tejasa of fire, sadhvi o virtuous lady, rupa matrasya of the subtle element form, vrittaya the characteristics. Translation: my dear mother, the characteristics of form are understood by dimension, quality, and individuality. The form of fire is appreciated by its effulgence. Purport: every form that we appreciate has its particular dimensions and characteristics. The quality of a particular object is appreciated by its utility, but the form of sound is independent. Forms which are invisible can be understood only by touch. That is the independent appreciation of invisible form. Visible forms are understood by analytical study of their constitution. The constitution of a certain object is appreciated by its internal action. For example, the form of salt is appreciated by the interaction of salty taste, and the form of sugar is appreciated by the interaction of sweet tastes. Tastes and qualitative constitution are the basic principles in understanding the form of an object. Text 40. Dyotanam pachanam panam adanam himamardhanam tejaso vrittayastveta shoshanam krutrideva cha. Synonyms: Dyotanam, illumination; Pachanam, cooking, digesting; Panam, drinking; Adanam, eating; Himamardhanam, destroying cold; Tejasa, of fire; Vritta, function; two, indeed; Etha, these; Shoshanam, evaporating; Shut, hunger; Trit, thirst; Eva, also; Cha, and. Translation: Fire is appreciated by its light and by its capacity to cook, to digest, to destroy cold, to evaporate, and to give rise to hunger, thirst, eating, and drinking. Purport. The first symptom of fire are distributed of distribution of light and heat, and the existence of fire is also perceived in the stomach. Without fire, we cannot digest what we eat. Without digestion, there is no hunger and thirst or power to eat and drink. When there is insufficient hunger and thirst, it is understood that there is a shortage of fire within the stomach. And the Ayurvedic treatment is performed in connection with the fire element, Agni Mandyam. Since fire is increased by the secretion of bile, the treatment is to increase bile secretion. The Ayurvedic treatment thus corroborates the statements in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The characteristics of fire is subduing the influence of cold is known to everyone. Severe cold can always be counteracted by fire. Text 41. Rupamatrat vikurvanat tejaso daiva choditat rasamatram abhuttasmad ambho jivvarasagraha. Synonyms: Rupamatrat, which evolves from the subtle element form; Vikurvanat, undergoing transformation; Tejasa, from fire; Daiva Choditat, under a superior arrangement; Rasamatram, the subtle element taste; Abhut, became manifested; Tasmat, from that; Ambhat, water; Jivha, the sense of taste; Rasa Graha, which perceive taste. Translation: By the interaction of fire and the visual sensation, the subtle element taste evolves under a superior arrangement. From taste, water is produced, and the tongue, which perceives taste, is also manifested. Purport: The tongue is described here as the instrument for acquiring knowledge of taste. Because taste is a product of water, there is always saliva on the tongue. Oh. Text 42. कषयो मधुरस्तिक्त कात्वं ल इति नैकधा भौतिकानां विकारेण रस एको विभिद्यते. Synonyms: Kashaya, astringent; Madhura, sweet; Tiktha, bitter; Katu, pungent; Amla, sour; iti, thus; Naikadha, manifoldly; Bhautukanam, of other substances; Vikarena, by transformation; Rasa, the subtle element taste; Eka, originally one; Vibhidhyate, is divided. Translation: Although originally one, taste becomes manifold as astringent, sweet, bitter, pungent, sour, and salty due to contact with other substances. Oh. Although originally one, taste becomes manifold as astringent. Okay. Sweet, bitter, pungent, sour, salty. Text 43. Kledanam pindanam Kledanam pindanam tripti prananapya yanodanam tapa panodo bhuyastvam ambaso vrityastvaima. Synonyms: Kledanam, moistening; pindanam, coagulating; tripti, causing satisfaction; pranana, maintaining life; apyanayana, refreshing; undanam, softening; tapa, heat; apanodha, driving away; bhuyastvam, being in abundance; ambasha, of water; vritya, the characteristic function; tu, in fact; ima, these. Translation: the characteristics of water are exhibited by its moistening other substances, coagulating various mixtures, causing satisfaction, maintaining life, softening things, driving away heat, incessantly supplying itself to reservoirs of water, and refreshing by slackening thirst. Purport: starvation can be mitigated by drinking water. It is sometimes found that if a person who has taken a vow to fast takes a little water at intervals, the exhaustion of fasting is at once mitigated. Yeah. So actually, I have done this. I have like recently, 2 3 months back, I have lived without food just by drinking water for straight 5 to 6 days, and it was true. Like, firstly, we feel hungry, but then it's mitigated just by drinking water. It's true actually.
Yes,
And
Prabhu.
after 5 to 6 days, I just ate a little bit food, and I felt very much satisfied. So it is
Yes,
true.
Prabhu. This is true.
In the Vedas, it is also stated, Apo Maya Prana, life depends on water. With water, anything can be moistened or dampened. Flour dough can be prepared with a mixture of water. Mud is made by mixing earth and with water. As stated in the beginning of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, water is the cementing ingredient of different material elements. If we build a house, water is actually the constituent in making the bricks. Fire, water, and air are the exchanging elements for the entire material manifestation. But water is most prominent. Also, excessive heat can be reduced simply by pouring water on the heated field. Text 44. रसमात्रात् विकुर्वाणात् अम्भसो दैवक्षोदितात् गन्धमात्रम् अभूत् तस्मात् पृथ्वी घ्राणस्तु गन्धः. Synonyms: rasamatrat, which evolves from the subtle element taste; vikurvanat, undergoing transformation; ambasa, from water; daivachodhitat, by a superior arrangement; gandhamatram, the subtle element order; abhut, became manifest; tasmat, from that; prithvi, earth; grana, the olfactory sense; to, in fact; gandhaga, which perceives aromas. Translation: due to the interaction of water with the taste perception, the subtle element order evolves under superior arrangement. Hence, the earth and the olfactory sense by which we can variously experience the aroma of the earth become manifest. Text 45. Yeah, the earth also has got aroma.
Yes,
Actually,
Prabhu.
yeah, you know this, like when it is very hot and you know heat is there, and when the rain comes, the first rain, it has got some aroma. In India, we experience that so much.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Even some
Uh-huh.
plants share this earthly smell.
Yeah, earth has also got the aroma. It's
Yes,
very
Prabhu.
much pleasing. Yeah. Text 45. Karambha puti saurabhya शान्तोग्राम ला didam prathak drav, dra, द्रव्यावयव वैषम्याद गंध एको विभिद्यते. Synonyms: karambha, mixed; puti, offensive; saurabhya, fragrant; shanta, mild; ugra, strong; pungent; amla, acid; adibhi, and so on; prathak, separately; dravya, of substance; avyaya of portions, vaishamyat according to diversity, gandha order, eka one, vibhidyate is divided. Translation: order, although one becomes many, as mixed, offensive, fragrant, mild, strong, acidic, and so on, according to the proportion of associated substances. Purport: mixed smell is sometimes perceived in foodstuff prepared from various ingredients, such as vegetables mixed with different kinds of species and and asafoetida. Bad odors are perceived in filthy places. Good smells are perceived from camphor, menthol, and similar other products. Pungent smells are perceived from garlic and onions. And acidic smells are perceived from turmeric and similar sour substances. The original aroma is the odor emanating from the earth. And when it is mixed with different substances, this odor appears in different ways.
Hmm.
If anyone else wants to continue, Rushkesh Prabhu, Haribol, Pranjal Prabhu.
Yes,
Or
Prabhu, I
they
can
would,
continue.
yeah,
Text 46. Bhavanam brahmanasthanam dharanam sadavesha visheshanam sarvasattva pranodveda prithvi vitti lakshanam bhavanam modeling forms brahmana of the supreme Brahman sthanam constructing places of residence dharanam containing substances Sat Visheshanam, distinguishing the open space, Sarva, all, Sattva of existence, Guna, qualities, Udveda, the place for manifestation, Prithvi of earth, Vritti of the functions, Lakshanam, Lakshanam, the characteristics. Translation Prabhupada by John B. C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: the characteristics of the function of earth can be perceived by modeling forms of the Supreme Brahman, by constructing places of residence, by preparing pots, to contain water, etc. In other words, the earth is the place of sustenance for all elements. Purport: different elements such as sounds, sky, air, fire, and water can be perceived in the earth. Another feature of the earth especially mentioned here is that earth can manifest different forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By this statement of Kapila, it is confirmed that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahman, has innumerable forms, which are described in the scriptures. By manipulation of earth and its products, such as stone, wood, jewel, etc., these forms of the Supreme Lord can be present before our eyes. When a form of Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu is manifested by representation of a statue made of earth, it is not imaginary. The earth gives shapes to the Lord's forms as described in the scriptures. In the Brahma Samhita, there is a description of Lord Krishna's lands, the variegatedness of spiritual abode, and the forms of the Lord playing the flute with his spiritual body. All these forms are described in the scriptures, and when they are thus presented, they become worshipable. They are not imaginary, as the Mayavad philosophy says. Sometimes the word bhavana is misinterpreted as imagination, but bhavana does not mean imagination. It means to give actual shape to the description of Vedic literature. Earth is the ultimate transformation of all living entities and their respective modes of material nature. Prove my voice is clear, no?
Yes, Prabhu.
It is not like last time, right?
It's good, Prabhu.
Okay, bro. Text 47. नभो गुणविशेषो ऋतो यस्य तच्छ्रोत्रमुच्यते वायुर्गुणविशेषोऽर्थो यस्य यस्य तत्स्पर्शनं विदु नभः गुणविशेषः the distinctive characteristics of sky sound artha object of perception yasya whose that shrotram the auditory sense uchyate Shruti is called Vayo Guna Vishesha, the distinctive characteristic of air, Artha, touch, the distinctive characteristic of air touch, Artha, object of perception, Yasya, whose that sparshanam, the tactile sense, vidudeno. Translation: the sense, the sense whose object of perception is sound is called auditory sense, and the whose object of perception is touch is called the tactile sense. Purport: sound is one of the qualifications of the sky and is the subject matter of our hearing. Similarly, touch is the qualification of the air and it is the subject matter of the touch sensation. Text 48. तेजो गुण विशेषर्थो यस्य चक्षुर उच्यते अम्भो गुण विशेषर्थो यस्य रसनं विदो भूमिर्गुण विशेषर्थो यस्य सग्रहाण उच्यते तेज गुण विशेष. The distinctive characteristics of fire: form, artha, object of perception, yasya, whose that chakshu, the sense of sight, uchyate, is called amba guna vishesha, the distinctive characteristic of water. Taste, artha, the object of perception, yasya, whose that rasanam, the sense of taste, vidu, they know, bhume guna vishesha, the distinctive characteristic of earth. Order, artha, the object of perception, yasya, whose that grahana, the sense of smell, uchyate, is called. Translation: the sense whose object of perception is form is the distinctive characteristic of fire is the sense of sight. The sense whose object of perception is taste, the distinctive characteristic is of water is known as the sense of taste. Finally, the sense whose object of perception is odor, the distinctive characteristic of earth is called the sense of smell. Parasya drishyate dharmo hya aparshmin समन्वयक अतो विशेषो भावानां भूमौ एव उपलक्ष्यते परस्य of the cause drishyate is observed dharma the characteristics he indeed aparasmin rasmin in the effect samanvayakya in order atha hence you can scroll down to vishesha the distinctive characteristics bhavanam of all the elements, Bhau in earth eva alone upalakshate is observed. Translation: since the cause exists in its effect as well, the characteristics of the former are observed in the latter. That is why the peculiarities of all elements exist in the earth alone. Purport: sound is the cause of sky. Sky is the cause of air. Air is the cause of fire. Fire is the cause of water. And the water is cause of earth. In the sky there is only sound. In the air there is sound and touch. In the fire there is sound, touch and form. In the water there is sound, touch, form, and taste, and in the earth there is sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Therefore, earth is the reservoir of all the qualities of the other elements. Earth is the sum total of all other elements. The earth has all five qualities of the elements. Water has four qualities, fire has three, air has two, and the sky has only one quality, sound. Text 50. एतान्य असांहत्य यदा महत् अदीनि सप्त वै कला कर्म गुणोपेतो जगत् आदिरुपविशत् एतानि these asampatya being unmixed yada which when Mahat Adini, the Mahat Tattva, false ego, and five plus elements, Sapta, altogether seven. Why, in fact, Kala, time, Karma, Var, Guna, and the three modes of material nature. Upeta, accompanied by Jagat Adi, the origin of creation. Upavishat, entered. Translation: when all these elements were mixed, unmixed, the supreme personality of Godhead, the origin of creation, along with time, work, and qualities of the modes of material nature, entered into the universe with the total material energy in seven divisions. Robot. After stating the generation of the causes, Kapil Dev explains about the generation of the effects. At that time, when the causes were unmixed, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his feature of Garbhodakshay Vishnu, entered within each universe. Accompanying him were all the seven primary elements, the five material elements, the total energy Mahatattva, and the false ego. This entrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead involves his entering even into the atoms of the material world. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita 5.35. An Andatarastha Paramanu Chaya- Chayantarastham. He is not only within the universe, but within the atoms also. He is within the heart of every living entity. Garbhodakshay Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, entered into everything. Every verse is technical, though.
But Prabhu?
Every verse is technical.
Yes, Prabhu.
Text 51. Tatastenav tenu vidhebhyo yuktebhyo ndam achetanam uthitam purusho yasmat uddhatishtad aso virat tatha then tena by the Lord anuvidhebhya from these seven principles roused into activity. Yuktebhya united Andam, an egg, Achetanam, unintelligent, Uthitam arose Purusha, cosmic being, Yasmat from which Udaitasthāt appeared, Asau that Virat celebrated. Translation. From these seven principles roused into activity and united by presence of the Lord, an unintelligent egg arose, from which appeared the celebrated cosmic being. Purport. In sex life, the combination of matter from the parents, which involves emulsification and secretion, creates the situation whereby soul is received within matter, and the combination of matter gradually develops into complete body. The same principle exists in the universal creation. The ingredients were present, but only when the Lord entered into the material elements was matter actually agitated. That is the cause of creation. We can see this in our ordinary experience. Although we may have clay, water, and fire, the elements take the shape of a brick only when we labor to combine them. Without the living energy, there is no possibility that matter can take shape. Similarly, this material world does not develop unless agitated by the Supreme Lord as the Virat Purusha, Yasmad Uddaitastat Asau Virat. By his agitation, space was created, and the universal form of the Lord also manifested therein.
Okay, Haribol, this is last one.
Yes. Text 52. Etad andam visheshakyam kramavriddhair dashotarai toyadhi varivrittam pradhanena sritartai yatra loka vitanuyam rupam bhagavato hare etam. This andam egg vishesha akyam called vishesha called Vishesha Krama one after another Vriddhai increased dasha 10 times, Uttarai greater, Toya Adivi by water and so on, Pari Vrittam enveloped, Pradhanina by Pradhana Avrittai covered by he on the outside Yatra where Loka Vittana, the extension of the planetary systems. I am this Rupam from Bhagavata of the Supreme Personality of God. Translation. This universal egg of or the universe is in the shape of an egg is called manifestation of material energy. Its layers of water, air, fire, sky, ego, and Mahat increase in thickness one after another. Each layer is 10 times bigger than the previous one, and the final outside layer is covered by Pradhana. Within this egg of the universal form of Lord Hari, of whose body the 14 planetary systems are parts. Purport. This universe or the universal sky, which we can visualize with its innumerable planets, is shaped just like an egg. As an egg is covered by skin, so the universe is also covered by various layers. The first layer is water, the next is fire, then air, then sky, and the ultimate holding crust is pradhana. Within this egg-like universe is the universal form of the Lord as the Virata Purusha. All different planetary situations are parts of his body. This is already explained in the beginning of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, second canto. The planetary systems are considered to form different bodily parts of that universal form of Lord. Persons who cannot directly engage in the worship of the transcendental form of the Lord are advised to think of and worship this universal form. The lowest planetary system, Patala, is considered to be the soul of the Supreme Lord, and the earth is considered to be the belly of the Lord. Brahmaloka or the highest planetary system, where Brahma lives, is considered to be the head of the Lord. This Virat Purusha is considered of an incarnation of Lord. The original form of the Lord is Krishna, as confirmed in Brahma Samhita, Adi Purusha. The Virat Purusha is also Purusha, but he is not Adi Purusha. The Adi Purusha is Krishna, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is also accepted as the Adi Purusha, the original. Krishna says, no one is greater than I. There are innumerable expansions of the Lord, and all of them are Purushas or enjoys, but neither the Virata Purusha nor the Purusha avatars, Karanadakshayi Vishnu, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and Shivadakshayi Vishnu, nor any of the many other expansions is the original. In each universe, there is Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, the Virata Purusha, and Shirodakshayi Vishnu. The active manifestation of Virata Purusha is described here. Persons who are in lower grade of understanding regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead may think of the universal form of the Lord, or that is advised in the Bhagavatam. The dimensions of the universe are estimated here. The outer covering is made of layers of water, air, fire, sky, ego, and Mahatattva, and each layer is 10 times greater than the one previous. The space within the halo of the universe cannot be measured by any human scientist or anyone else. And beyond the halo, there are seven coverings, each one 10 times greater than the one preceding it. The layer of water is 10 times greater than the length of the universe, and the layer of the fire is 10 times greater than that of water. Similarly, the layer of air is 10 times greater than that of fire. These dimensions are all inconceivable to the tiny brain of a human being. It is also stated that this description is of only one egg-like universe. There are innumerable universes beside this one, and some of them are many, many times greater. It is considered, in fact, that this universe is the smallest. Therefore, the predominating superintendent or Brahma has only four heads for management. In other universes, which are far greater than this one, Brahma has more heads. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is stated that all these Brahmas were called one day by Lord Krishna, and the inquiry of the small Brahma, who after seeing all the larger Brahmas was thunderstruck. That is the inconceivable potency of the Lord. No one can measure the length and breadth of God by speculation or by false identification with God. These attempts are symptoms of lunacy. So, what is the meaning of the word lunacy? Can you check?
Like illusion, craziness.
Okay, bro.
Extremely foolish.
Okay, bro.
Okay, Haribol, now we go to six Astakam prayers. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Or let's see how many verses. Oh, too many.
So I think it's 70 plus verses.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay, let's go to six Astakam prayers. चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनं Anandam Bhutivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritasvadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
नाम्नामकारि बहुधा निज सर्वशक्तिस्तत्रार्पितान्यमिता स्मरणेन काल एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन्ममापि दुर्दैवं दृशम् इह जनिनानुरागः तृणादपि सुनीचेन तरुरपि सहिष्णुना अमानेन मानितेन कीर्तनीय सुधारि न जनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीशकामये मम जन्मनुजानि भवता भक्त्या इति गीत्वै अभिनन्दतनुज किङ्करं पतितं मां विस्मये भवाम्बुधे कृपया तव पादपङ्कजोऽस्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तया नयनं गलितश्रुधारया वदनं गदगदहृदया गिरा पुलकितचित्रं वपुपदा तव नामग्रहणे भविष्यति युगायितं निमिषेण चक्षुषा प्रावेशायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्द विरहेण मे अश्लीषवापादरतां पिनिष्टमाम् अदर्शनां मर्माता करोतु वा यतो तथा वा विदधातु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरः
Haribol. All glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name can alone render all benedictions to all beings, all living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of your kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. Should I continue, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, you can read it.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the strong state. One should be more tolerant than actually devoid of all sense of false prestige and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful woman, nor do I want any number of followers, only one who causes devotional service birth after birth.
O son of Marananda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the items of your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
Oh, in the feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment like to be 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly in his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Shri Shiksastakam ki jai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai.
Jai, Jai.
Baujanma Karayadi Shravana Kirtan, Tabutana Pai Krishna Pade Premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many birds, he will not get the love of Godhead. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The 10 offenses against the holy name are as follows. The first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second offense is to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Third offense is to disobey the orders of spiritual master or to think of him as an ordinary person. Fourth offense is to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature and pursuance of the Vedic wisdom. Fifth offense is to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. Sixth offense is to use some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. Seventh offense is to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. Eighth offense is to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda. Ninth offense is to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Tenth offense is to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all Vaishnava devotees who are just like desired trees uh, of the Lord. Now let us offer our respectful obeisance unto all Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desired trees, and they are full of compassion for the poor and conditioned souls. Panchakalpatarubhishya Kripasindhubhya
Patitanam
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
Pavanebhyo
अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय।
Jai,
शतोपाद की जय।
Jai,
जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Siddharth Prabhu, Tanda Pram, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you for joining today, Prabhu. Hari Bol.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु नाम जय श्री प्रभुपाद।
Okay, tomorrow we continue. Jai Shri Prabhupada.